And we're back with another episode of Your Music Saved Us, where two friends blast ourselves into the past to relive and recontextualize the alternative Christian music we grew up listening to in the 1990s.
If you ever want a battle, then get in touch.
I think I saw Elvis.
My name's Clifton, and I'll be your racist white friend today. And joining me is a man who knows a little something about cold days in hell, Jay. How you doing?
I'm good, Clifton. It's been a while. It's nice to be back. I'm
Yeah?
a little
Did you enjoy your
confused
break?
about the racist white friend thing, but I'm sure we're going to get into it. I can't wait.
I know, I felt racist trying to make jokes about this, I think is what I'm really looking down to.
Oh boy. Okay. Well, we've been gone for a while, and we see what happens.
I don't have any racist. Never mind. Okay. Well, what are we doing today, Jay?
We are listening to Brainwash Project's 1998 debut, The Rise and Fall of Brainwash Projects.
I've heard of Brainwash Projects, you know. I've seen their little logo patch thing before in people's backpacks, but I've never listened to this. So what, was it easy to find to listen to?
Shockingly, yes. This was released originally on Jackson Rubio Records, which is like long gone, disappeared. Most of the releases are out of print, hard to find. But this got re-released, and I actually think maybe multiple times. But recently, it was re-released by this, I think it's a German hip-hop label called 90s Tapes. And they put it out on CD, cassette, and vinyl. All three versions are already sold out. But the good news is it's out there on Spotify. It's on Bandcamp. You can listen to this.
Okay, cool. Was this played in your youth group?
Definitely not.
All right. So why are we covering this? How did this end up on your list?
This was maybe the only, and I'm not counting before I say this, like DC Talk or some of those things. This was really the only, like, honestly, any hip hop that I listened to back in the late 90s, especially like Christian hip hop. And, you know, I found it, of course, because it was released by Jackson Rubio Records, and I was just kind of paying attention to most things they put out. And I don't know, I enjoyed it quite a bit. And then when I saw that it was being re-released and all the stuff around it, I thought, oh, well, we should just jump into this.
Cool. All right, well, before we dive in, I want to remind everyone to visit patreon.com/YMSU to contribute and get extended episodes. Yep. All right, so Jay, tell us a little bit about the band.
So Brainwash Projects is a duo, and it's made up of Pigeon John and B Twice. And they're also both members of the hip-hop group LA Symphony. And Pigeon John's real name is John Dust, and he was born and raised in Omaha, Nebraska. But the summer before 5th grade, he moved with his mother and two siblings to Inglewood, California, and then Hawthorne. He met B Twice, whose real name is Bernardo Bordas. So you see the B Twice. In school, and they got into rap and hip-hop beats, and by high school, they were making mixes together. And Pigeon John and B Twice honed their craft rapping at the Good Life Cafe, which I had to look up, but it evidently is pretty legendary. It was a health food market that held like these open mic nights, and some of the regulars were like members of Jurassic 5, The Far Side, Common, Will.i.am, like all these like pretty well-known hip-hop artists perform there. It was interesting reading a little bit about it because they said it was just like everyone really encouraged each other. It was kind of one of those places where like people weren't really using profanity. That was viewed as like just like a cheap way to rap. They were really encouraging like vocabulary and just lots of different styles. So anyway, these two released a demo in 1995, and then this album, The Rise and Fall of Brainwash Projects, came out on Jackson Rubio in 1998.
All right. Well, how did this come into your life?
You know what? Specifically, I don't remember. I'm sure I picked it up because the cover is kind of interesting. It doesn't exactly
Yeah.
look like, I don't know what a hip hop album looks like, but this definitely doesn't look like a gangster rap album or any of that
No, it
stuff.
looks like almost industrial, maybe.
Yeah,
Like,
or like a jazz record or something. Like,
okay, yeah,
maybe like it's black and white cover. It's just got the two guys standing there, kind of in front of like a wall at maybe like a construction site or so. I don't know, some
yeah.
kind of uneven background wall, and they're both kind of wearing like suits.
But they're very like linear suits, cylindrical.
Yeah, nobody's wearing a tie. I don't, unless Pigeon John is.
No ties. No.
And so, yeah, it's just a different style. I liked Jackson Rubio, and it was kind of one of the things, well, if they're putting it out, maybe I'll like this. So I'm sure that's why I picked it up. I might have also heard it. I know they were on a couple of samplers at the time, so
Yeah.
there's a possibility I heard it there too.
Who else was on Jackson Rubio at this time?
So, like, I think the Merbabies release that we've already covered had
Mhm.
come out by then. Javelina Rail Company, of course, because it was Matt from that band. His label
Yeah.
had the Blaster the Rocket Man album come out at this time? I don't know where this
Ooh,
was.
that's a good question.
I should
They're
look up
probably right about this
the
time. Yeah.
discography. Yeah, so some other stuff that was, for kids like us that liked the alternative Christian music, kind of already familiar with, and so I think this was just like, well, this is interesting. Let's see what this is like.
Cool. Do you think it played a role, like musically, in your life at the time?
Well, not like some deep, meaningful thing. Other than I think it made me go, oh. And I call this hip hop versus rap, and I'm going to be honest, I'm not knowledgeable enough to probably like delineate the difference.
Yeah.
But I remember going like, oh, I kind of like if other hip hop is like this, then I like hip hop. Which in some ways, I think that's part of what we've done on the show, right? Is like, as Christian kids who were very sheltered, most of these bands were our first introduction to a lot of these different styles, and so like, oh. If MXPX is punk, oh, I like punk, And so same with this of like, oh, if this is like representative of hip hop, then maybe I like hip hop.
What did you understand of it at the time? Like, did you understand, like, because I didn't listen to this back in the day, but like, I think my almost entire experience with hip hop rap kind of area was DC Talk and what I overheard from the radio, even though I didn't listen to the radio, right? Like,
yeah, no, me too, for sure. I mean, I think at that time, well, okay, a couple of things. So I definitely watched like inline skating videos, rollerblading videos where they played hip hop in the background, and skateboarding videos. So there was a little bit of exposure there. I think by this point, I'm starting to pay attention a little bit more to like, like a little bit more of like alternative music outside of Christianity. So I'm sure there were some like mentions of secular hip hop groups occasionally. And so I guess I had a tiny bit of exposure to it. And I guess in some, way I was like, oh, this is like different than the rap you hear on the radio.
Yeah.
But yeah, pretty unfamiliar. Still, honestly, don't feel fully equipped to rate this now, just because it's not an area that I know a lot about. But
yeah,
I did like the album, so I want to talk about it. But I'm going into this with that little disclaimer beforehand.
Not your area of expertise.
No, definitely not that any of this music probably ever is, but this is definitely not.
Okay. Have you listened to it over the years, or is this kind of first time coming back to re-listen to it?
I think I have a little bit, because it is a unique style and I like it quite a bit, but not like some of the albums where like I've really never stopped listening to them.
Yeah.
So coming back to this, it was interesting, like how quickly some of the songs and even individual lines came back to me.
Interesting. Okay. Anything else you want to talk about before we dive in?
Well, actually, can I read you? Just before we record this, I found a review from the Phantom Toll Booth website that I'm pretty sure is of the time.
Nice.
And so before we jump into the album, I thought it'd be fitting. I'll read you, and unfortunately, we can link to in the show notes, but there's no author name on this. It's just Phantom Tollbooth. But I'm going to read you the first 2 paragraphs of the review that they wrote. It says,
Okay.
quote, I first heard Brainwash Projects on the Spin This sampler. I think that was with 7 Ball. I wasn't impressed. They were blatantly hip-hop, an unusual surprise with all the gangster rap in the market, but their lyrics were too aggressive. They tried to fit in too many words, and although they discussed Christian stuff, they also discussed girls' body parts and getting drunk. But the beat was tight and the melody was cool, so I saw potential but not future superstars. I bought the full album on a whim and was shocked to hear the maturity. Now they have their own sound and could be picked out of the Christian hip-hop/rap crowd. This album is reminiscent of old The Roots and Farside albums, incorporating jazz and tight beats with a quick flow in their freestyling. The BPs, as they call themselves, are Pigeon John and B Twice. DJ Coy does some of the mixing as well. So we'll go into it with that in mind.
Is there freestyling here?
I mean, again, I don't know. I'm gonna be honest. People are probably listening to this laughing right now because I'm like, I don't know. It's hard to know how much is freestyled, how much is, already pre-written. I am not sure.
Do you remember the Spin This sampler?
Yeah, wasn't it 7 Ball or was it not?
No.
Oh,
I
I'm
think it
wrong.
was
Okay.
crap. What's the label that Rainy Days was on?
Oh, Alarma?
Alorma, yeah. But it wasn't just Alorma. I think it was.
It's like a bunch of stuff.
Yeah, there it is. Spin This.
Good
Okay.
memory, Clifton.
Do you remember this cover?
Very vaguely.
All right, here's the back. So we have Insiders, Everyday Life, The Echoing Green, Symbiotica, Kevin Clay, Rainy Days, Chaos is the Poetry, Poro Lou, OCCZs. I don't know what that is.
I don't either.
But then we have Good Time Hotel Preview by Brainwash Projects. And then we have Mike Knott and Altar Boys.
Okay, this actually makes me have more questions in some ways because well, most of these bands are Alarma, right? Like
right.
almost
Yes.
all these, except I don't think Insiders.
Not Insiders. Nope, they were Gumshoe.
And then Brainwash Projects. So were Brainwash originally going to be, and it looks like this sampler came out in 97 and this album came out in 98, were they originally going to be signed to Alarma? This is
a good question.
This is interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, I remember this, but I don't remember. Since their song is towards the end of the album. That's probably why I don't remember it being on there. But
and to be fair, you might have been like, "What is this?" Skip.
Exactly. Yeah. Maybe so. All right. Well, let's dive in. Why don't you tell us about the first song, Jay?
Yeah. So the first song is not really a song. It's called "The Rise and Fall of," and it's really just kind of like piano music looped over some kind of vinyl fuzz, like an old record, and it kind of reminds you of like a jazz club or something.
Mm-hmm.
And then at the end of it, there's an intro saying, "Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the rise and fall of Brainwash Projects." And it's kind of actually I don't always love little intro tracks like this, but it kind of fits, especially with the aesthetic vibe of the cover art and some of the stuff you see. I feel like it kind of fits what they're trying to do. And honestly, some of the tracks on here do kind of have some piano in the background and have a little bit of that kind of jazzy vibe.
I got the feeling throughout the album that they were pulling a lot of their sampling for the arrangements from old jazz records or something like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
To me, this track went on just a little bit too long. But I was mainly disappointed they didn't flow into the first song. It just kind of it literally just bleh, ends.
I agree, and actually it's a pretty big shift into the actual first song. I kind of wonder if that first song they didn't know where else to put it. Yeah, I agree. It would have been nice flowing into something because it's a pretty abrupt change into the first real track.
It's almost an awkward change, I would say.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right, well, let's get into that. Track number 2, the General Office Clerk's Swing Scene.
So it does have like jazzy drums at the beginning and piano, but it's also got this woo, like, kind of going in. So you're like, whoa, what is this? Pigeon John is giving some driving directions at the very beginning.
Yeah.
And then it's kind of straight.
See, he says turn left, which I assume is some kind of liberal conspiracy.
Yeah, exactly. Of course. But it's like straight into the rapping then. It's very clear, I think, however many seconds this is in, 10, 15 seconds in, I remember thinking, like, this is not sounding like any other Christian rap I knew. Both with the background music and also his style. Pigeon John's style is, he's a little bit higher range, I'd say, than most rappers. And it's just, I don't know. You're just very clear, like, okay, this is something different.
So one of the first things that got me here at the first of the song is I felt like the rapping was at a different tempo than the backing, like, arrangement and was at a different tempo than the backing arrangement and drum beat. I'm gonna play a little bit of that here.
Dance to this, I got responsibilities and plans to miss. Meanwhile, Mr. B said I'll be right back. He cast to the corner where the soda be at. Then I slid to the left to blow. Took a breath, bounced up, did a strut, hit a test to fuck. Oh God! Then I bumped into this girl, baby from a different world. Mole on her face, giving me pace up in the place. Ear like hair, smooth there, made me stare. Excuse me, didn't mean it. Then again, befriend you wouldn't be able to.
Like, I almost feel like it's tripping over itself, like, a little awkwardly, just because they seem to be at two different tempos.
Yeah, no, good point. Like that, doom. Like it's very kind of jazzy beat and rapping. Like I would not know how to set up that kind of like syncopation over it, but
right.
Yeah, I agree. It's kind of a weird flow over the music.
Yeah,
this is, and a lot of the songs are going to take this pattern of like, one of them does one verse and the other person does the other verse kind of thing. This one, basically, it starts with Pigeon John telling a story about being at a party and meeting a girl. And, he's really likes her. She's got a mole on her face. He talks about like all these little like short hair, all these kind of descriptors. And then you realize in the next verse, B Twice starts rapping. He starts talking about meeting a girl. Oh no. Yeah. And so, of course, you can probably get where this is going. It's back and forth a little. The third verse is him going back and forth describing the girl. And then they realize, oh, we both got played. That it was the same girl talking to both of them. They both thought they had a chance with her. And it's going nowhere. So, yeah. The chorus talking about the girl, she's into something called Mike 9, which I'm guessing is a hip hop artist. I don't know.
Okay, is that why she was not only fine, but she's into Mike 9?
That's my guess.
Okay. At first I thought they were saying white wine, but then they definitely weren't saying that. I don't know. We'll listen.
Oh, I like Mike and 9. She was not only fine, but into Mike 9. Said to myself, it's just about time. 2:15 and I'm feeling fine. Gotta make this video all mine. Hey, yo, check the guest list. What's really going on?
He said, gotta make this video all mine. But later, he has the same chorus. She was not only fine, but into Mike 9. Said to myself, it's just about time. 2:15 and I'm feeling fine, but I failed to recognize the warning sign. Because, of course.
Well, the warning, and then the last time he says sign.
Yeah.
So, what's Swin doing? I don't know. Let's go see. Said to myself, it's just about time. 2:15 when I'm feeling fine, but I failed to recognize the warning. She was not only fine, but into Mike 9. Said to myself, it's just about time. 2:15 when I'm feeling fine, but I failed to recognize the warning. She was not only fine, but into Mike 9. Said to myself, it's just about time. 2:15 when I'm feeling fine, but I failed to recognize the warning. She was not only fine, but into Mike 9. Said to myself, it's just about time. 2:15 when I'm feeling fine, but I failed to recognize the warning signs.
Yeah, so I guess I should also mention, because you'll see this in other songs, that, Pigeon John's a little bit higher kind of pitch. He is a little more silly, I think, on the album, where Beat Twice is a little lower and a little more serious, I think, most of the time, and also has quite the vocabulary. Like, he's the one that I tend to notice rhyming these, like, really big words or phrases. Not that Pigeon John doesn't do it too, but just as far as something that stands out.
Which one makes fun of the other one later about using a rhyming dictionary? We'll get there.
Yeah,
we'll get
there. So, yeah. Now, Clifton, I'm curious because I don't even think you and I have ever even talked about hip hop. So I'm curious, like, your thoughts on this since you've never heard this before.
Yeah, I've never heard this until listening to it for this. You know, I overall enjoyed this. I think I'm not gonna go back and like add it to what I'm listening to by any means, but I enjoyed, like, it's kind of low key in certain ways, you know, which I really enjoyed. It's got some nice melodic elements to it. It's repetitive in fun ways, you know, kind of like groovy.
Yeah.
You know, I liked it, but like I said, it's not changing my life or anything.
Yeah. Okay. Fair. I liked a lot of these songs are kind of like this one a little bit, have a little bit of a story element to it, which was kind of fun. Yeah, and there's certain lines that are actually pretty funny in places. Yeah, I don't know. Anything else we should say about General Office Clerk's swing scene?
There's a record scratch at one point.
The dance floor cutting the rug, they give them nothing but love. Bug, I stepped to get a refreshment and a fresh mint, straight chillin'. DJ spinning top billing. What more can I say? Looking for PJ. When I spot this fly, oh shit.
That's probably like the most exciting thing that happens in the song. I mean, like, it's a good song, but like as far as things changing up, that's probably about as exciting as it gets.
Yeah, you know, I was just thinking as I was listening to that, the background sounds or that kind of jazzy thing. Again, this is coming from someone who is not, again, up to date on any hip hop stuff, but to me that sounds like fairly timeless. The beat behind it, like I don't listen to that and go, wow, this sounds like 1998. I feel like if I'd heard it today, I'd be like, oh, this is kind of a cool background beat for this.
It definitely seems like older hip hop to me. You know, I'm not that I listen to much hip hop, but you know, I think today there's more complexity, more. You know, because this is it's very sparse, right? We have drums and we have a few samples. You know, that's it.
Yeah.
We don't have complex arrangements. We don't have layers. You know, we don't have. So to me, this is because of that. I would say it feels like early hip hop.
Okay.
And by early, I mean like last century, right?
Oh, that's weird to think about all these albums being in the last century that we're covering.
Yeah.
Huh. Well, should we go to the next song?
Yeah, track 3, Want for Nada.
This one is a pretty good little bop. And it's kind of got the jazzy background again. It starts with the chorus, actually. And I would say this is probably the one of more like Christian songs, more blatantly lyrically.
Really? Okay.
Clifton is surprised. This is going to be interesting.
Well, we don't have the lyrics for any of this, right? They're not in the album.
True, makes it difficult.
They're not online.
Fair.
You know, yeah, they're just it's just what we can hear, you know, and I at one point I was gonna write down the lyrics, but they were just too fast and I didn't have the patience for it, honestly.
No, fair. We've done a few other albums where there weren't lyrics, and usually we try to transcribe them, but this is like so, as the Phantom Toll Booth said, so many words.
Yeah, they use too many words. That's our excuse.
Well, we can talk about the lyrics of this one. If you want, maybe, Clifton, start off playing just the beginning, because you can hear the chorus.
One for nada, in any situation don't nada. Your Abba Father will supply a full nada. One for nada, one for nada, one for nada. In any situation don't nada. Your Abba Father will supply a full nada. One for nada, da 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 da. Yo, I got the silver beamer on 2020.
Yeah, and so you could hear Pigeon John coming in there at the end. The chorus is something like this. It's want for nada in any situation don't matter, like don't matter. Your Abba Father will supply, and then I cannot make out that last part.
Okay.
But it's something about like, don't want for anything, God will provide everything, that kind of thing.
Okay.
I think.
I kind of got that. That's the sense I got from it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
This one you could even hear with the beat, and you guys couldn't see like I could, but Clifton was bobbing his head pretty well to it. This one's really got that driving kind of bouncy beat to it, and it works really, really well. I really like this one kind of maybe 30-second clip where Pigeon John really gets going. I think it's a really great spot on the entire album.
But in our reality, I live in Hong Kong City. On Yukon Avenue, residue stuff that's pretty. Working at LAX at Waterstone 650. I live in California where the girl is looking at me. What's up, white people? What's up, black people? My name is Pigeon One, ain't no one equal. Listen, for years I sat up on a cloud wishing and wanting.
Waiting for God to give me something.
Enough been happy cause no change in my action. Didn't work for it, so no duck you can't change. But now I want for nada cause I have all things. Jehovah Jireh, he make the telephone.
Yeah, so like, I mean, you heard more of the Christian stuff, Jehovah Jireh, he makes the telephone ring, but I think he does a really good job there. It's really bouncy, it's really fun. He talks about he works at Waterstone at LAX airport for $6.50 an hour. It's just like, I don't know, it's just a really fun little part of the song, and it's hard not to bob your head as you're listening to it, you know?
And obviously it's meant to be a fun song because it's kind of this idea of like, you know, even in the worst of times, I don't have to worry because God's taking care of me kind of thing,
Mm-hmm.
you know?
Yeah, I mean, I will say one thing, and I don't know if you felt this way listening to this, Clifton. It feels like, and this is nothing, I want to be careful when I say this because I'm not slamming their faith or the faith they had at the time of putting this out, but like some of these songs, this one is more Christian, but some of these songs in this album feel like they've kind of like maybe had to put more Christian references in, or had to like, do you know what I mean? Just sometimes it feels a little bit abrupt. Some of the like,
it does.
The stuff in this album.
We'll get to it with what song is it? Cold Day in Hell.
Mm-hmm.
That one to me has the weirdest kind of. I mean, probably the whole song is more Christian, but it has like this really weird. He talks in it about being at war with fellow believers more than at war with non-believers, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it does. There is a lot of non-Christian themes. For the next song, for example, "Daydreamers" is obviously about kind of capitalist overworking culture, you know.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of this album that's like pretty fun, and not that I guess. I don't know. Not that you couldn't, be fun at the time and be Christian, although that's a loaded statement, probably that I don't really want to unpack right now. But sometimes I don't know, other places in the album it feels a little forced in. But
I wonder if that has to do with I don't know their situation or where they're coming from, but I'm gonna say that a lot of the stuff that we listen to comes out of Orange County, which is very upper middle class. And they have plenty of time to worry about the culture wars, you know? And other people who are trying to survive may not have as much time to worry about the culture wars, you know? And so their focus, their brain of Christianity, their focus of Christianity is probably going to be aimed a little different.
Yeah. And even growing up, like, as a person of color there versus, like, a white kid in the suburbs, it's going to just, like, you're going to have a different take on a lot of things. Exactly. One other line, like some of the stuff I liked about this album at the time, and definitely still like now, is they were getting a little bit more out of the Christian ghetto. Just the words they're using and the stuff they're talking about, and just the vocabulary. And so, for instance, Clifton, I really like where B Twice he talks about bringing the hip hop 100% pure, like uncut cocaine, which is not normally, a simile we're hearing in most of the albums we're covering.
You will keep it true when overwhelming revenue substitutes lint. We bring in the hip hop 100% pure, like uncut cocaine, causing mad damage to your brain, sustaining cerebral blood stains in complicated sequences.
Yeah, it's causing mad damage to your brain.
So it was just like, I don't know, I enjoyed it. I also love looking back on some of these and going like, it's funny, this was in a Christian bookstore. Like some of these lines on these albums.
Was this in a Christian bookstore? Like,
Pretty sure that's where I got it.
Okay. Because, I mean, obviously the previous song had quite a bit of, I think, well, I don't know if that's what, because the song that was on the Spin This is Good Time Hotel.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember that one describing women's body parts very much.
Oh no, there's we're gonna talk about it.
Okay. I guess I wasn't listening close enough on that one. No, never mind. Okay, yeah, never mind. All right. Anything else for this song?
No, I mean, I think for some reason, this is not the top song on Spotify by them, which surprises me, because I think if I had to pick one to go off, it might be this one. If you had to pick like a single.
Interesting. Okay. All right. Well, track 4, The Daydreamers.
Yeah. As you kind of said, this is a little bit about just like the daily grind. Like they don't say the word capitalism, but like, you know, that wearing you down. It's pretty relatable actually because of that, because I think everybody's been in this situation. It's also one of the funniest. There's a pretty funny part, I think, in the song, one of the funniest parts on the album. And it starts with the chorus again.
Which has a very questionable line. Let's listen.
Thank you.
It's 9 a.m. You know that we get live, working that 9 to 5. But we can't think straight, we be the daydreamers.
Ultimate mind rape.
You know that we get live,
To all the jobs I had before.
but we can't think straight, we be the
Daydreamers.
Check it, I woke up in the morning to some sweat and Crawford. Feeling out of it, in other words.
Now,
Yeah.
there's a few other points in this album that I'm like, that has not aged well. Lyrically, like not the music, but like, yeah, ultimate mind rape. Now, I will be honest, I do think sonically, the way that Pigeon John is saying, you know, we get live working that 9 to 5, but we can't think straight, we be the daydreamers, and then B Twice coming in with that deeper voice, ultimate mind rape. Like, I think that sounds cool.
It sounds great, right? And look, when I was, in 1998, I probably used the word rape in many situations where it should not have been.
Oh God, I used a lot of words that I should not have been. And I don't even mean like necessarily like cuss words that were just, Yeah, because it's just an ill-considered use of a word that has a real meaning and is a traumatic thing to experience for something that is bad but isn't rape, right? Yeah, fair. I get what they're trying to do, but
yes.
Yeah. And I know they needed something to rhyme with straight, so I don't know, but should have thought.
Well, let's get a rhyming dictionary and figure out a new word for. Okay.
Yeah, it's a fun song though. I think most people can relate to this. Like I said, I like how they both are doing parts of the chorus on this one. If you want one kind of highlight, Clifton is at about 52 seconds in with B Twice rapping.
Wiggle a fishing quivers. He got to my floor and forced a couple
that's
hours.
Pigeon
Now
John.
I'm being bored with horrid visions of torture.
I wake up from paper cuts that serve as a reminder why I must escape the clutches of my occupation. Hard to concentrate on what I was hired to do so I can make the papes. I seem to be trapped in a stalemate. My 9 to 5 generates indispensable revenue for my survival, but I don't fit in this piece. Anticipate the arrival of my long-awaited.
Yeah, I just like, I wake up with paper cuts that serve as a reminder why I must escape. You know, like he just, yeah, they're both very good, and it works really well together, and they have such different styles that it's, you know, you can very much tell who's doing what part and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a trumpet here in the first part of the song too.
Iceberg.
Oh, yeah.
I keep on walking and talking to co-workers, but I know they see it. I flee into back lockers. Try to play it off and I cough like I'm under weather.
I don't know.
Yeah, it's good. One of my favorite parts that's funny is if you start around 144, this part with Pigeon John talking to his boss is
Get live,
pretty funny.
working that 9 to 5. but we can't think straight. We be the
Ultimate mind rape.
Here we go, I hear him coming down the hall like this. And I know Mr. Winkle take no excuses. So I pick a coffee shop and start my Xeroxes. Then he walked in, asked to talk behind the brown boxes. I said, but wasn't feeling sure at all. I was feeling BP, ready for rise and fall. He sat me down, he sat in front and asked me what was up. I said I had a show last night, stayed up late and stuff. He said, John, why do you do it? This is the 4th time. I said, please forgive me, but I have to rhyme. But I will try my best, give me another merit. And I promise to mention you with some my album credit.
My mentors wander aimlessly. Subconscious optimism where destiny abides that prohibits.
So, yeah, forgive me, sir, but I have to rhyme. You know,
They do drop their names a lot, and BP.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's just a fun song.
Yeah.
It works really well. If we didn't use the word rape, it would probably stand the test of time a little better.
Mhm.
But
I came up because they're really what they really want to say is exploited or something like that, you know.
yeah,
And if they could do like exploitate or something like that, you know, instead of rape. I think maybe that could have been maybe if they want to update this for today, that's my suggestion.
yeah, true.
All right, let's get on to track number 5 here. Good Time Hotel.
Well, and this is the one that was mentioned, I believe, in the on the sampler, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, girls' body parts. We will get to that in a minute. But this one does start, and I do have some of the lyrics for this song. It starts with the chorus again, and this is a little bit more kind of chilled out chorus, but
This is singing.
Yeah. Should we just play it rather than me reading it? 'Cause I think they can understand it.
Another day, and it's okay to start anew and fade away and press the gas and let them pay and laugh out loud and roll away to pick up friends and then set sail. The windows down and never fail and drink some sodas at Taco Bell. Welcome to the Time Hotel.
Check it out when you Bushwick, Brooklyn, and 9 Deuce. I was 19 and I had...
Now, I do have some questions about this chorus, though, because it's... Okay, he says, another day, it's okay to start anew and fade away fine. Impress the gals and let them pay and laugh out loud and throw it away. I don't know what... Okay, they're letting the women pay for what? Maybe Taco Bell later? I don't know.
And sodas and Taco Bell.
Yeah. This is also at least the second time that Taco Bell has been mentioned by a Christian band from this era. If you also want to remind people of Don't Know's 59, 79, 99 song, we've not covered that album yet, but just shout out to another Taco Bell reference. Which
Also, if you go back to our episode with Dear Ephesus, we discuss an interview that they did in that, and that interview was in Taco Bell.
Yeah, and to be fair, I ate a lot of Taco Bell back then too. So,
yeah, because it was cheap.
Yeah, it was cheap. It was good. It was where you hung out. So
it was open late.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you kind of heard it at the end of the chorus right there, but the song starts with Pigeon Dawn actually talking about a visit to New York. And I'll be fair with you, I don't really completely follow the narrative in this song. He talks about visiting New York. Be Twice, when he comes in, he starts talking about more serious stuff like life and death. This is kind of a good example of how they complement each other, because Pigeon's rhythm is really like hoppy and fun, and Be Twice is a lot more serious, but pretty impressive with the way he says the words. And then, should I get into the body part now?
Yeah.
So if you play it about 54 seconds in, Pigeon John talks about being attracted to a girl. And I'll just say I've never heard it done this way on a Christian, actually on any album, but on a Christian album for sure.
I knew I was near to Bella, this cutie who was then my dear. I first met her out in Hermosa Beach and Hope Chapel Youth Group. Chris Cannon teach. She was then young and flat, which did not attract me, but it did attract this kid named Ronnie. See, back then I was sprung on this bitty who I met to winter.
So yeah, he met her out in Hermosa Beach at Hope Chapel, and I couldn't make everything out, but he definitely said she was then young and flat, which did not attract me, but it did attract something.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this is definitely another first for me at this time, or even to the present. I don't think I've ever heard it. Yeah.
Yes.
So interesting. This is another one of those you're like, man, this is on the shelf in a Christian bookstore. Although at the time, though, you could make the argument that he's just being very honest. I don't know.
I guess it's less graphical than that Craig's Brother song about masturbation. No, not even about masturbation, about lust.
Yeah, I mean, fair. And he's not, I mean, he's just talking about how he felt.
Yes.
But it was interesting. And I don't know if that's what they were referencing in that Phantom Tollbooth review of this, but could be. So.
See, and even then, I would, like, especially as even today, I didn't take that as being describing body parts. I just thought it was like a flat personality.
Oh.
Like, just kind of boring.
Okay. Maybe that's what it meant.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm the one that's got issues.
No, I mean, I'm probably the wrong one. But this is, I don't know.
Yeah, overall, this is another fun song. It's got a nice rhythm. It's got both of them rapping back and forth. Again, showcasing both their styles. Like, it's good stuff. This album is actually pretty strong. Like, 2, 3, 4, 5, boom, boom, boom. All these tracks are good.
Mm-hmm. There is a reference to the Holy Ghost later on in this.
Take a seat. Now prepare yourself to be overwhelmed by hip-hop beats and rhymes. Time after time, a good time in this hotel. Whack masters of ceremony repeatedly repelled from my well-being. I seize each day one by one. There I am when I receive the Holy Ghost, God the Father and His only Son. Awkward maneuvers veer my skateboard out of control. I ain't ready for my memorial.
Did he follow that up saying something about Anubis? Or
he talks about his maneuvering his skateboard out of control or something like. That's what I mean. Like that Christian reference just kind of feels like inserted. Like, I don't know. And maybe I'm not like, maybe they weren't pressured to do that or anything like that. Maybe just wanted to do it, but it feels kind of, I don't know, doesn't completely fit with everything else going on in the song.
Yeah. All right, we're gonna skip a few songs here and move on to track 8, the fight song.
Yeah, and funny, Clifton, of all the songs, this one I could find the lyrics online.
Really?
Really kind of like of all of them, like what? This one is shorter, for sure. And it really, to me, this shows their sense of humor, especially like Pigeon John's. And it's go ahead.
I like. By the way, I really like the piano kind of.
Yeah, why don't you play the beginning part?
What? Hey, B. What? B, twice. What you want, man? Wait. Looking like what? Feeling like what? Yeah. Up in the place with the ill types.
Yeah. No, the piano's nice. It's a little bit weird, right? It's a little like, I don't know, like a little messy. I was trying to listen.
It feels like it's spliced together, maybe in some ways.
That's probably a certain part. I was listening to it and trying to. Yeah, it's a part that's kind of run together, but it starts with Pigeon John, like you just heard, and basically, he tries to get B Twice's attention, and he starts rapping, and then somehow Pigeon decides to interrupt B Twice, and basically jumps in and says, "Yeah, whatever. I'm in my cute sweater," and starts just dissing B Twice, and we end up kind of having a back and forth kind of battle between the two.
This is where one of them gets accused of using the rhyming dictionary.
Yes. I don't know if you want to, like, about 31 seconds in is when Pigeon first kind of jumps in and starts ragging on B Twice.
Now, disciplinary action handed to the beneficiary.
That was cool. Whatever. I'm in my cute sweater. I'm here like weather, but your style's like leather. You need to switch it up, cause you sound straight whack. Back up a little, cause you need a tic-tac.
You walking on some eggs, boy. You better quit the nonsense. Your silly styles are soft like a hit man with a conscience. Exaggerated antics are those of an adolescent. When we hang out, I take and I whack rap suppressants.
Ha ha! I laugh cause I'm in my bubble bath. You're living with your mom while I'm signing autographs. Really, what would you be without a rhyming dictionary? I'm a wrestling geek styling.
The autographs you signed.
All right, so B Twice is being accused of using a rhyming
Which,
dictionary.
like, no, he's got the good. rhyme. But yeah, it's pretty funny. Like, haha, I laugh because I'm in my bubble bath. You're living with your mom while I'm signing autographs. It's got some fun parts, and then it's back and forth a little bit, and then at about 1:31, if you just play that, you could see where this kind of falls apart and ends.
Out a metaphor, your whole style's 89 while I'm dipped and refined.
You bony dirty bird thought you was fly, jumping off the stage only to engage in a concussion. This foolish bum rushing can only lead to the experience of a body slam. Cause if you want, I will simply change the program. You skinny pin,
Let me
what
speak
now?
upon your mother. My intention.
I don't know if you caught.
Does he say, "Let me speak upon your mother"?
Yes. And that's when it's too far, and they kind of start, actually fighting, and the song just kind of ends.
Yes. That was a fun listen.
Yeah, that was a fun song. It's short, but it's just, again, they have a nice sense of humor on this album, which is pretty enjoyable.
All right, skip into the next song, Speeding Porsches.
This, I'm curious your take, Clifton, because, I remember kind of being how odd I was when I first heard this track. It was just nothing I'd ever heard before. Both the music in the background, but then also some of the vocals. And I just it was just kind of what? This is super unique.
So this features Drunk Kings, which is what really threw me off originally when I was listening to it. Because we have a Christian artist here featuring Drunk Kings. And yeah, so it has 3 additional vocalists, or maybe 4 additional vocalists. So there's a lot more change up in this one, right? Mm-hmm. And it also has a lot more energy. But yeah, let's listen to it here.
Okay, it only means time. Okay, go. Go! That
I don't know what all those instruments are.
Well, we're definitely hearing a piano, right? But it's almost like a toy piano because it's just a really high, you know? And then we almost have these Looney Tunes kind of
right. And there's
sound effects.
There is a steady bass line that will continue.
There is, yes.
But there's
I think that's the one part that's an original composition of this song. Is from looking at the credits for this track,
Yeah. So it already starts weird like that, cool weird, but just different. And then well, I mean, you've got some, regular rapping, but then at about 39 seconds, I remember when that vocalist comes in, I'm like, what?
Yeah. And then I'm pretty also sure there's a reference to the Wild Wild West. So it sounds like Wild Wild West, like the Will Smith
movie
song, not just the movie, but the song itself.
It's a fact, just a pretty please with sugar on top. Drop that pure hip hop.
Invitation, so glad I came. My chef was told to put fuel in your train. In the name of Jesus, joy for you to claim. You didn't know, pity, what a shame. I'm a wild, wild man, sip soup through the can. Did somebody say beans and gravy? Oh, that's my favorite thing we had at the noon. These proverbs.
Is this an actual British person, or are they making fun of the British accent?
I think it's legit British person. I'm sure you probably did this too. I tried to look up Drunk Kings. I can't find anything. It's not a very easy thing to Google. I guess they don't do anything anymore. They go by different names. But I just remember listening to this back in the day and being what? Already again, the background music's weird. And then this British guy comes on. It's what? And he's did somebody say beans and gravy? That. It's just... Yeah, I'll be honest. I don't know what this song is talking about. Specifically,
no clue.
I have no idea.
There's some great. I'm gonna play some more sound effect things going on here though, because we get in this section we're gonna get some boings and some tire screeching, which makes sense with the speeding Porsches.
Kiddies don't even know. Hardcore, exciting, plus dope, bro. We do a little before we do the show. Purio is rocking on the radio. Don't you hate experts that act like pompous jets that stick up your butt? Must really hate. I'm sorry, didn't mean to act crass, but we know better usually won't last as long as my Porsche's here to run it over. High off the spirit, so I'm never ever sober. I know the beat on a last name basis. It whispers in my ear. We be the brainwash jerk since '83. Every rule LA so nonchalantly. Calm hand.
many things to do, people to meet, beats to create.
There's Brainwash jerks in there, which I appreciated.
Yeah, I mean, this is just such a weird, like, in a good way, like, song.
Yeah.
And just with so many different vocalists, weird style, like, yeah.
And as fun as all that has been, to me, it's the last minute of the song where it gets really good.
Okay, yeah.
I'm gonna play the entire last minute.
Yeah, do
Please
it.
don't even know. Hardcore, exciting, plus don't go. We do what they do before we do the show. Probio is
Rockin' on the radio.
wait. Genies don't even know. Hardcore, exciting, plus don't go. We do what they do before we do the show. Johnny O is
Rockin' on the radio.
give me the mic one time, make the whole world blind. Zap back, I be like one of a kind like this. Up in Redondo in a condo. Sit down, taking a photo and up in Mondo. Headline, John Kenneth acting up in Lawndale. Party with my friends until we end up in jail. It's like we just chillin' eating peach cobbler. Ladies look at me, the new Lloyd Dobler.
You were there when I called you, my darling, where are you? Jumped in the Porsche so I can go find you. Saw you by a cab, about to get in it. I ran a light, pulled over, got a ticket.
Hold on to your claws, no pause with no flaws. Freaky honeymoon, breaking the law in mega malls.
Like this, over here we be opposite whack, but
Who's that?
Mr. Sin equivalent to Gillette, the best some skin can get. Flesh, counterfeit finesse, merry-go-round, circular crash test after hip fest. Smokey, the scenery burn rubber, no stress. Handcuffs suggest, souls please say key. Faith without word deed is dead. Set by James, aimed by God, claimed by Chose, the God, mom of Vosh. Break the camouflage facade before the Clizzy waters is lodged to the living heavenlies. Believe, receive, exceed your speed, Portia indeed.
Is that a woman there at the end?
I think so.
Okay.
The credits aren't super clear because it's not
No.
anybody's like real name, and so it's
Yeah.
not easy to tell. But yeah, I think so.
Yeah. And I do think they're British, whoever this drunk Kings is, because it makes it even harder to understand. I think they're both using I think they're using both a kind of a thicker British accent, but also some British slang that I just don't get.
Yeah, yeah. No, it's completely weird. It's a little off the wall. Again, I still don't know what they're talking about. There was some like faith sounding stuff there towards
Yes,
the
there
end,
is.
but
I think I heard James get mentioned.
yeah, I
Yeah.
can't make it all out. I don't know really what Speeding Porsches is like, why that's the song title, but it's fun and it's weird.
Yep. I like that one.
Yeah. Well, let's go to the last song we're going to talk about.
Right. Track 11. Yeah, you go ahead.
Cold Day in Hell, or A Cold Day in Hell. This is the one that's actually played the most on Spotify.
Interesting.
And I'm going to scratch my head because I don't know why.
Yeah, because it's super slow.
Mhm.
Well, not super, but it's slow.
It's also all Be Twice, actually.
Really?
Which I like Be Twice, nothing against Be Twice,
Yeah.
but it's just, again, it's not the most representative of Brainwash projects.
But there is a lot of Christianity in this one, I think.
Yeah, that's true. So maybe that's why it's the most played.
Yeah. Maybe so.
It's kind of the background music at this one is kind of like a violin or like symphony
Mhm.
type sound with the beat over it.
Yeah. I'm gonna skip the first half of the song, maybe just play the second half, because I think that's where the most interesting lyrics happen.
Well, there's one. Well, okay. There's one really. I do like the line at 44 seconds in.
The flip, don't even trip. I rip for recreational purposes. A source of income to pay the rent and for necessity purchases at retail prices. Handheld audio devices get broke when one provokes. Now you know who Be Twice is. That sizable contribution to the community. Performing premarital microphone molestation on beats. At times I do this for the hell of it. So you can feel
Clifton caught it. Yeah, so
Okay.
performing premarital microphone molestational beats. Kind of fun.
Yes, interesting.
But yeah, go
Okay,
to
I'm
where
gonna
you
start
want to
here.
jump to.
I'm gonna start here around 2 minutes.
reality. It'll be a cold day in hell.
I'll leave 'em frozen.
It'll be a cold day in hell. Cold day in hell. Now I've enjoyed my share of self-centered, lukewarm seasons of flesh that I now put to rest with every sun up. I come up on a strength through the length of the universe and spit verses that reflect my pain and how I maintain from certain discrepancies that have surfaced through the past quarter century with full intent to injury, but to no avail. These These vain attempts fail to flood and overwhelm my walk, being that I'm covered by the blood. Aw, see, y'all niggas is tripping now. I'm talking about physical blood that you bleed. It seems y'all still feed on milk when I'm giving out healthy portions of steak with parables of realism, absorbing the criticism, catching bullets from heaters. Seemingly more at war with my brethren than I am with non-believers. You'd be out of your mind to think I'd renounce the sun, cause if that day comes, casted souls can I skate figure eights on burning lakes. If I deny God like Peter did Christ, it'll be a cold day in hell. Catch me attracted to the same sex, knowing it ain't right. It'll be a cold day in hell. To even think that I'd ever fall off in hip-hop.
Yeah.
So in that 1 minute clip, we got references to struggling with the flesh, but then a reference to kind of the pain of the universe. And then I'm covered by the blood. And then the interruption there, and like, no, physical blood. Then a reference to fighting with believers more than, with fellow believers more than non-believers. And then if I deny Christ like Peter did, that'll be a cold day in hell. Or if you find me attracted to the same sex, knowing that ain't right. What?
Also, you forgot he also used the N-word in there, so...
Oh, well.
Not that I
I'm going to skip over that.
Yeah, I don't know if that was common, though, in Christian marketplace at the time. So,
True.
Yeah, there's a lot there.
My thought on the attraction to the same sex thing is a little doth protest too much kind of thing, you know? Like, is this someone who's literally attracted to the same sex and is like, look, I'm attracted to the same sex, but I don't give into that sin kind of thing?
I even wondered that too, because he also briefly mentions it earlier in the song too.
Yeah.
And so part of me was a little like, yeah, like, wow, you've said it twice in different ways, but in the same song, like, huh. This is definitely a part that I didn't feel like aged well. Like, definitely. I have no idea what these guys are up to today. Like, and their beliefs and everything. So this may be one that they maybe change the lyrics on now. Maybe not. I don't know.
But all that said, it still, to me, was lyrically one of the most interesting things that happened in the entire album. Yeah. I mean, just all of that happening right together really fast.
Yeah. These,
like, not that one line.
There's a lot in there.
Yeah.
And again, you get a sense of their talent with that stuff. I think again, I'm not a hip hop expert, but I do think it's hard to deny that there is talent here from both of them.
Yes. Oh yeah. And even though that was mostly Be Twice, what's his name, Pigeon John is obviously coming in there and doing backing and stuff like that really reinforces the song really well.
Yeah. Again, it's not my favorite song on here, but for some reason, people on Spotify, it seems to be theirs.
Yeah.
All
right.
There's a bunch of other stuff. I think this album has that was only song 11. I think there's 18 tracks on here.
There are 16 tracks plus a hidden track, which is more just kind of instrumental and kind of making rhythmic noises in the background and stuff like that.
Yeah. So there's a bunch on here. We didn't cover it all, but hopefully you got a good sense of what it's like.
Yeah. Well, Jay, what'd you think overall?
Yeah, I still really like this album. I mean, like I said, there's a few lyrics that are a little questionable now and a few odds and ends and stuff that didn't age well, but overall, it's still pretty fun, and I enjoyed listening to some of these songs. So, yeah, I'm pretty positive on this still.
Cool. Yeah, I mean, I enjoyed it. It was definitely no trouble to get through, and some of the songs were really fun. Yeah.
Good.
What do you think of the album artwork?
I mean, actually, in some ways, I think it's a good example of I think it was probably fairly low budget, but actually kind of works for what it is.
Yeah. I'm surprised that, so what we're looking at the inside of the CD lining right now. This Brainwash project's this is a patch I've seen quite a bit.
Okay.
Right? I'm surprised that wasn't on the cover, because it's very recognizable. And the other thing that weirds me out is kind of the, on the sheet that has the song list here, there's just some kind of randomly shaped rectangles in various shades of greenish blue behind them, and it seems very Jackson Rubio to me. Like, like kind of that like weird alternative, maybe a little punk type thing, you know, but just kind of the kind of goofiness of Jackson Rubio kind of thing. It doesn't seem as serious. I don't know. It doesn't seem as serious as what's going on in this album.
Yeah. And then on the other side, there's some photos of the band that are very kind of black and white, a little bit artsy.
Yeah.
Is Pigeon John eating cereal in that one? Or some kind of soup? Something? I don't know. I can't tell.
He's always sitting at a table eating something, yes.
Yeah.
Oatmeal, maybe?
Yeah, something with a spoon.
Yeah. Nowhere in these credits does it tell you who these people are.
You mean like the other people making the beats and stuff, or like
who these people's real names are?
Oh, okay, right.
It just has Pigeon John and Be Twice, you know. There's Thanks. There's obviously Matt Wingnall is in here quite a bit, executive producer. Additional mixing by, he's in here several times. Photography and layout by.
Yeah, and this was recorded at Tacky Land, which I'm pretty sure is his studio too. So it's definitely like all Jackson Rubio type thing. Yeah.
Very in-house.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. There's a lot of reference in here to LA Symphony, which until you told me what LA Symphony was, I had no clue. Because it literally says LA Symphony is Brainwash Projects.
Yeah.
Haley Hughes, Fisherman, Flynn Adam Atkins, Joey Lawrence, DJ Coy, and Eternals. And then you're like, wait, why is Brainwash Projects a member of something?
Yeah.
But not telling me who the members of the Brainwash Projects are.
Right.
Yeah. Anyways. It's also dedicated in loving memory of Marcus Irving and Julia Griffin.
Whoever that is.
Yeah.
So the LA Symphony thing, can I tell you a little bit more about where they are now?
Absolutely.
So the LA Symphony thing is interesting because basically this was the really, like, if you don't count their demo, the first and last release for Brainwash Projects, but they continued in LA Symphony, but that's kind of in and of itself a weird story. So LA Symphony, I think around the time this came out, or maybe right before, had released an album called Composition Number 1. I think like self-released or on a small label. They get signed to Squint Entertainment, which was Steve Taylor's label, in '99. And think back on that. This is like the label that had the Sixpence Kiss Me song. So like was like gonna be big, right? They worked on an album called Call It What You Want. Even one of the tracks was produced by will.i.am of the Black Eyed Peas. Like this was going to be really big. I remember even back in the day there was a little bit of hype around it. Well, something happened, and I still don't fully understand, with Squint Entertainment. I don't know, because again, Squint had like Chevelle, Sixpence, like it was definitely selling records, but something happened financially and this album got shelved. Like it got finished and then never got put out.
What?
Yeah,
that's
I know. You can actually, like, somebody has loaded it onto YouTube now, so you can hear it. Because I think like a demo version of the album came out, which is without artwork, that was maybe sent to people for review or something, but like it never made it out. And so I think that really, like, you know, obviously hurt LA Symphony because like they really got set back. They finally released their own EP called Baloney in 2002. And then later got signed with Goatee Records, actually, and then put out a few more albums. So, and surprisingly, I think LA Symphony is actually still working on some new music now. I know they put out a new album as recently as 2014 and still doing stuff. And I think Pigeon John and Be Twice, as far as I can tell, are still members of that.
Okay.
But as far as those two individuals go, Pigeon John released a solo album called Is Clueless, I believe in 2001 or 2. And he's kind of continued as a solo artist. By this point, he has 8 solo albums out. His most recent one came out in 2020, and it's called Got a Good Feeling. And I'm gonna have Clifton play it in just a second, because honestly, and granted, I'm an older white guy now, like, whatever, my taste is not good, but I'm actually a little surprised he's not bigger than he is. Like, this is very, like, radio-friendly pop fun song. And if you check out some of his others, they're similar to this. And I'm just, he's decently big on Spotify and stuff, but I'm surprised he's not kind of much bigger. So, I don't know, let's see what you think of this, Clifton.
I got a good feeling. Yeah. I got a good feeling. I got a good feeling. Yeah, I'm up on the cloud, ain't coming back down. I got a good feeling. Yeah. Yeah, I'm up on the cloud, ain't coming back down.
Feel it in my bones, gotta shake it out. I'm going harder than before, let me hear you shout. I run around the whole world, chasing that thrill from the bottom.
It's not like amazing, but it's like, it's real catchy, and you're kind of like, I can see this being on the radio or something, right? Like, just fun. So yeah, he's continued. Be Twice, I can't tell, has done like much solo. But if you want to check him out, by the way, you can go to pigeonjohn.com for him. And Be Twice is on Twitter at Be Twice. Just one word like that. So they still are out there, and it looks like we may hear some new music from LA Symphony soon.
Cool. Do you have an award for this album, Jay?
I do, Clifton, and I don't think I have to worry about this ever like fighting with myself over this later, but I'm going to call this the best hip-hop album covered on this podcast.
Definitely the best one so far.
Yeah, yes. I don't think we'll probably have another one, so I'm going to feel safe saying that.
You never know where we're going to go.
You're right. But for now, I think you can give it this award.
Okay. Well, Jay, what are we going to do for the next episode?
We are going to... Shoot, I don't know the year. I don't have it in front of me. But we are going to do Johnny Respect's debut album, Blue Collar Moxie.
From 1997. Yeah. So this one was very, very present in my life in the late 90s. I remember getting in trouble because the lead singer says "suck" here on one of the songs, and we got in trouble from one of my friend's moms because of that. There's also another song where they just literally just edit out some lyrics because I don't know what they said, but they're edited out, like they just cut off in the mix, and then they're just like blacked out, if I remember correctly, in the liner notes.
Oh, good. Well, maybe we can just practice like putting other things in there and see.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll figure out what they were. But this is kind of a. This doesn't sound like their later albums. It's kind of a rockabilly, punkabilly type thing, And I found it very fun at the time, and we'll see if it holds up. I haven't heard it since then.
Okay. Thank you for joining us for another episode of Your Music Saved Us.
If you enjoyed your time with us, please leave us a review or share this episode. Visit patreon.com/YMSU to contribute and get extended episodes. Visit our website, yourmusicsavedus.com, to find out all the ways to listen. We're on Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook. Join our Facebook group or follow us to keep up with the latest, interact with us and send complaints and disagreements to yourmusicsavedus@gmail.com.
The music in this episode is the work of Brainwash Projects and is used with apologies, not permission. And you can find some of their stuff if you go to 90s Tapes. That's 90stapes.bandcamp.com, and they've got their album there. And
you can also just search Brainwash Projects on Bandcamp.
True.
It'll get you there.
Yeah. So there's still a little bit of stuff out there. Please support them.
Yeah. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.